a question on Spain. Are you satisfied with today's?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And, you know, they're doing very well. The economy is very well. And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening. You know, Spain is the only country that... Are you from Spain?
Yeah.
Good, congratulations. You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make it up. You know what we're going to do? We're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much. And I'm actually serious about that. We're going to make Spain... I like Spain. I have so many people from Spain that it's a great place and they're great people. But Spain is the only country out of all of the countries that refuses to pay. And, you know, so they want a little bit of a free ride. But they'll have to pay it back to us on trade because I'm not going to let that happen. It's unfair. It's unfair to net. All right, sir, please. Go ahead, right in the back. Yeah, you, tall one. The tall man.
Mr. President, Johannes Petra from Austrian National Television.
How are you?
You once said that you would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. You later said you said that sarcastically.
Well, of course it was sarcastic.
But you've now been in office for 5 months and 5 days. Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because it's more difficult than people would have any idea. Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars. I mean, look, we just ended a war in 12 days that was simmering for 30 years, frankly. We ended Rwanda and the Congo. It's coming to sign the documents. We've already signed basic documents, but they're coming, I think, to the White House on Friday. We ended Serbia was going to go at it. But maybe the most important of all, India and Pakistan. And that wasn't whether or not they may someday have nukes like we're talking about in the Middle East, like we're talking about with Israel and Iran. This is they have nuclear weapons. I ended that with a series of phone calls on trade. I said, look, if you're going to go fighting each other, it was getting very bad. You know how bad that last attack was. It was really bad. If you're going to go fighting each other, we're not doing any trade deal. No, you have to do a trade deal. I said, we're not doing any trade deal. And in fact, I had the general, who was very impressive. The general from Pakistan was in my office last week. You know, Prime Minister Modi is a great friend of mine. He's a great gentleman. He's a great man. And I got them to reason. I said, we're not doing a trade deal if you're going to fight. And if you're going to fight each other, we're not doing a trade deal. And you know what? He said, no, I want to do the trade deal. We stopped the nuclear war. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. Here's another beauty, Jeff. He's a beauty, all right. Go ahead.
Mr. President, to follow up on Ukraine, will the United States contribute any more money to Ukraine's defense this year to the $5 billion that allies are giving? And one question, you had another meeting with the Dutch opposition leader, Mr. Wilders. Can you tell us about that meeting? And are you upset about his anti-Muslim stance?
I'm not upset about it. It's just his view. He's unhappy with the way things are going in this country and various countries. He was an opposition leader. And I was asked to meet with the opposition leader by the people that are running. I think they have some deal where if you have a meeting, you're supposed to meet with an opposition leader. I said, that's strange. We don't do that. But I met with I didn't know him. He seemed like a very nice guy, but he's in opposition to the current people, and that was set up by the current people. So I assume when I met with the Prime Minister, you're supposed to meet with the opposition. We'll have to try that sometime in our country. Let's not do it. But I thought he was very good. As far as money going, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of spirit. Look, Vladimir Putin really has to end that war. People are dying at levels that people haven't seen before for a long time. Go ahead. Go ahead. White shirt. Oh, she's all excited.
Okay. So, BBC News Ukrainian. I would
Where are
like
you
to
from?
ask you, I'm from Ukraine.
Oh.
So my question to you is whether or not the U.S. is ready to sell anti-air missile systems Patriot to Ukraine. We know that Russia has been pounding Ukraine really heavily right now.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there.
Wow.
And
I can see you very, it's amazing.
And me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw actually, because he wanted me to be
Is your husband a soldier? No?
He's
there now?
Yeah.
Wow. That's rough stuff, right? That's tough. And you're living here?
In Warsaw.
And you're a reporter?
I am.
Good. So let me just tell you, they do want to have the missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available, They're very hard to get. We need them too. We were supplying them to Israel, and they're very effective, 100% effective. Hard to believe how effective. And they do want that more than any other thing, as you probably know. That's a very good question, and I wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I can see it's very upsetting to you. So say hello to your husband, okay? Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. You were criticizing...
Where are you from?
Bloomberg News.
Oh, Bloomberg. That's wonderful.
You were criticizing the Federal Reserve Chair before coming to this summit.
Yeah, I think he's terrible.
I was wondering if you've begun interviewing different candidates for the Fed pick.
Yeah, I know within 3 or 4 people who are going to pick. I mean, he goes out pretty soon, fortunately, because I think he's terrible. We have no inflation. We have a tremendous economy. Hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff money is pouring in. Factories are being built because they don't want to pay the tariffs, so they're building them all over the country. I think we're close to $15 trillion. I told you $5.1 trillion from the Middle East alone, but of investment money coming in. There's never been anything like that in the history of our country. But we have no inflation. And we have borrowing, because Biden, stupidly, they did short-term debt. So we have borrowing coming up. And, we'll go 10 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter, but we'll go a long period of time when we do the debt. And because of him, because of this guy, we will have to pay for years. We'll be paying for him. And I said to him, listen, there's no inflation. He says, but maybe there'll be some. That's true. I said, if there is some, what you do is raise the rate. I'm okay with that. You raise the rate in 2 years from now or in a year from now. But because the rate's high, we have to pay more for debt. It's pretty equal. In other words, if it's 4%, it's 4%. If you drop it a point, you'll pay 3%. So it's fairly equal, not necessarily, but fairly equal. So we're going to end up paying maybe 2 points or 3 points more. 3 points would be about $900 billion a year because of this very average mentally person. He's an average mentally person. I'd say low in terms of what he does, low IQ for what he does, okay? Right. So instead of paying $900 billion, we don't want to pay 900 just because he doesn't want to lower the rate. I said, if there's inflation in 2 years or 3 years or 1 year from now, you raise the rate and you take care of the inflation, among other things. But he's probably a very political guy, I guess. I don't know. I think he's a very stupid person, actually. All right, one more. Let's go. How about you? Go ahead. She looks so happy and everything.
Thank you.
That's why I
I'm
picked
from
her.
Spain too. I'm Ana Buch from La Vanguardia. I wanted to know if you...
You're where from?
Spain too.
Ah.
I wanted to know if you want to
That's the Spain corner right there. Shouldn't have said that. That's okay. I do like Spain, by the way. I think it's unfair that they're not paying, but go ahead.
Are you going to negotiate directly with Spain about...
I'm going to negotiate directly with Spain. I'm going to do it myself. They're going to pay. They'll pay more money this way. You should tell them to go back and pay. You're a reporter? Tell them to go back. They ought to join all of those countries that are paying 5%. Spain's going to be just about the only one that's not. They were the most hostile toward doing it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay. All right, Kelly, go ahead. Here we go. Here's another one.
Hello, sir. Thank you very much.
We got them all today.
Okay. So, Mr. President, you talked about expecting some on-the-ground assessments at Fordo and other sites.
Oh,
is that Israeli and U.S.?
It's been obliterated, Kelly.
What is your message then, sir, to the intelligence community when they present reports? You're not disputing the DIA report. You're just...
They presented a report that wasn't finished. We're talking about something that took place 3 days ago.
I understand that, sir.
The
It's an
report was
initial
done
assessment. So
2
what
days
is
ago.
your...
Wait a minute.
Yes.
They didn't see it. All they can do is take a guess. Now, if you take a look at the pictures, if you take a look how it's all blackened, you know the fire and brimstone is all underground because it's granite and it's all underground. You don't show it. But even there, with all of that being said, the whole area for 75 yards around the hole where it hit is black with fire. The group that's run by this gentleman, in fact, you may want to talk about it for a second because we're going to issue a report. And I think it's not even a very exciting report at this point. It's been obliterated, totally obliterated. And they did a report, but it was like, if you look at the dates, it's just a few days after it
Understood,
happened.
sir.
So they didn't see it. They said it may be very severe.
Understood. Do you have a message for the intelligence community, though, in terms of unvarnished information getting to you, that it's not...
I don't really have a message. I would say issue the report when you know what happened. I wouldn't say that it could be severe or maybe not. They use the word severe. It could be severe or maybe it's not.
And briefly,
So people like you picked up and said, oh, it's not severe.
We're just
no,
looking for the
the
facts.
report was not a complete report. Yeah, the message was probably wait till you know the answer before you...
And, sir, did you not have a public component to your Zelensky meeting for a tactical reason with President Putin?
Let him answer this.
Hello, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah. There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons, to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12 30,000-pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere is trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that drop the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities have been set back beyond what they thought were possible because of the courage of a commander-in-chief who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
But you're not disputing the report said what it said, even though it was initial.
The report said what it said, and it was fine. It was severe, they think, but they had no idea. They shouldn't have issued a report until they did. But we've gotten the information. I think Pete said it better than you can say it. And, you know, you should be proud, you, especially you, should be proud of those pilots, and you shouldn't be trying to demean them.
No, there's a
those
difference,
pilots
sir,
flew
between asking
at
about an
great
assessment
risk, a
and
big
the
chance
skill
that they'd
of
never
the
come
US
back home and see their
No one
husbands
is
or their
questioning
wives.
the skill
Let
of
me
the
just
US
tell you,
military.
you and NBC fake news, which is one of the worst, and CNN, New York Times, are all bad. They're sick. There's something wrong with them. But you know what? You should be praising those people instead of trying to find some. By getting me, by trying to go and get me, you're hurting those people. They were devastated. You know, I got a call from Missouri, great state, that I won 3 times by a lot. And I got a call that the pilots and the people on the plane were devastated because they were trying to minimize the attack. And they all said it was hit. But we don't think it was really maybe hit that badly. And they were devastated. They put their lives on the line, and then they have, and I'm not referring to you, but real scum come out and write reports that are as negative as they could possibly be. It should be the opposite. You should make them heroes and heroines. You should make them really people that they were so devastated when they heard this news. And you know what they said? One of them, I spoke to one of them, said, "Sir, we hit the site. It was perfect. It was dead on." Because they don't understand fake news, because they have a normal life, except they have to fly very big, very fast planes. But it's a shame. You should be making them heroes. All right, in the back. Go ahead, back, white, yeah. White jacket, yeah. Go ahead, give my mic. Hello.
Deborah Haynes from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No, he did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that, but do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend Europe on their own without...
I think they need help a little bit at the beginning, and I think they'll be able to, and I think they're going to remember this day, and this is a big day for NATO. You know, this was a very big day. They took it. One of the gentlemen said, "You know what? We've been trying to raise money raise the rate for 30 years," he said, 20 years, from almost the beginning. And he's been there for a long time. He said, "Until you came along, it never happened. What you did is amazing." It's been sort of an amazing day for a lot of reasons, but also for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think they can do it without you, though, in the future? Can they do it without the United States?
I mean, you have to ask Mark, okay? So we're heading back. We're heading back. I want to thank these two gentlemen behind me. They're incredible people. Both of them, they've done a fantastic job. And Susie's in the front, and she's done great. And Monica, thank you very much. It was quite an exciting time. And we're going to be heading back. We'll be back soon, and we'll see you in Washington, D.C. Remember this, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
अमरीकी सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप नेटो समिट से खिताब कर रहे थे। तमाम तर तकरीबन जो मौज़ूआत हैं हालिया उनके ऊपर उन्होंने अपना नुक्ता नज़र पेश किया। उन्होंने जो डिफेंस बजट है नेटो का उसके ऊपर गुफ्तगू की, जो हालिया वॉर है ईरान की और इजराइल की उसके ऊपर अपनी जो उनका इसमें रोल था उसके ऊपर उन्होंने बार बार बात की और बहुत ज़्यादा क्रिटिसाइज़ किया। उन्होंने सर्टन मीडिया हाउसेस हैं जो अमेरिका के CNN न्यूयॉर्क ख़ासतौर पर में सर फहरिस्त, उन्होंने कहा कि उन लोगों को जिन्हें आपको हीरो बना के पेश करना चाहिए आप उन्हें क्रिटिसाइज कर रहे हैं। और वो हवाला दे रहे थे उन रिपोर्ट्स का, उस रिपोर्टिंग का जिसमें सवाल उठाया जा रहा है बार बार कि क्या अपने टारगेट्स को अचीव करने में कामयाब हुआ अमेरिका, जिसके लिए हिट किया गया था अमेरिका जो ईरान की साइट्स हैं उसको, उसके ऊपर जो क्वेश्चन उठाए जा रहे हैं मीडिया हाउसेस की जानिब से उस पर वो खासे गुस्से में नजर आए और बार बार उन्होंने कहा कि आपको जो B2 पायलट्स हैं उनकी कारकर्दगी को सराहना चाहिए कि किस तरह से उन्होंने बस्टर बॉम्ब इस्तेमाल करके ज़ेरे ज़मीन जो उनकी तंसीबात थी उनको निशाना बनाया और आप उन्हीं के ऊपर सवाल उठा रहे हैं, ये उनकी जानिब से कहा गया। और साथ ही साथ पाकिस्तान और जो इंडिया की वॉर है उसमें अमरीकी सदर ने जो रोल प्ले किया था उसका भी उन्होंने तज़किरा किया और पाकिस्तानी फील्ड मार्शल आसिम मुनीर उनकी उन्होंने खुलकर तारीफ की। उन्होंने कहा कि वो बहुत इंप्रेसिव मैन है, मैं उनसे बहुत मुतासिर हुआ क्योंकि जब मैंने उनके सामने ये रखा कि हमें तजारत करना है या लड़ना है तो उन्होंने तजारत और अमन के रास्ते को चुना, ये उनकी जानिब से कहा गया। और बहुत से सवालात उनसे पूछे गए, जो मीडिया वहाँ पे मौजूद था, ख़ास तौर पे जो हालिया रोल रहा है ईरान और इजराइल की जंग में अमेरिका का, उसके ऊपर बहुत क्रिटिकल क्वेश्चंस पूछे गए जिसका जवाब उन्होंने दिया। और साथ ही साथ उन्होंने ये कहा कि वो अपने मकासद अचीव कर चुके हैं और इजराइल और ईरान जो है वो थक चुके हैं, टायर्ड है, एग्जॉस्टेड हैं और सेटिस्फाइड भी हैं। उम्मीद है कि ये मामला यहीं पर ख़त्म हो जाएगा। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने कहा कि वो दुनिया में अमन कायम करने के लिए अपना रोल प्ले करना चाहते हैं। इससे पहले कोई भी शख्स ये इस तरह से कोई रोल प्ले नहीं कर पाया। दीगर भी जो जंगें हैं, यूक्रेन की और जो रशिया की जंग है उससे मुतालिक भी उनसे सवाल किया गया। उन्होंने कहा कि उनकी कोशिश ये होगी कि उस मसले का हल भी निकले, लेकिन साथ ही साथ उनका ये भी कहना था कि वो जंग खासी टफ जंग है और उसका हल निकलना ज़रा मुश्किल है अभी, लेकिन वो कोशिश करेंगे कि इस मसले का हल भी हो। क्योंकि इस बारे में उनसे क्वेश्चन किया गया कि 5 माह से ज़्यादा आपको ऑफिस संभाले हो चुके हैं, जिस तरह से आपने ये जंगें रुकवाई उस तरह से आपने रशिया और यूक्रेन की जंग क्यों नहीं रुकवा सके। उस पर उनका ये कहना था कि वो एक टफ जंग है और व्लादिमीर पुतिन जो हैं वो खासे टफ आदमी हैं, लेकिन उनकी कोशिश होगी कि जितने भी तनाज़ात हैं दुनिया में उनका पुरअमन हल निकाला जाए। और सीज़ फायर के हवाले से उनसे क्वेश्चन किया गया कि आप किस तरह से कह सकते हैं कि ईरान और इजराइल जो है वह मामला जो उनका सेटल हो चुका। उनका ये कहना था क्योंकि दोनों मुल्क जो हैं दे बोथ आर टायर्ड, एग्जॉस्टेड और अपने अपने जो उन्होंने रोल प्ले किया है, जो जंग लड़ी है उसमें सेटिस्फाइड हैं कि वो अपने टारगेट्स अचीव कर चुके। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने ये कहा कि जो फैसला कुन रोल था उनके B-2 जो बमबार थे उन्होंने प्ले किया है इस जंग को ख़त्म करने में, क्योंकि उसी के बाद ही मामला सीज़ फायर की तरफ आया। और क्वेश्चन उनसे पूछा गया कि क्या वो ईरान के साथ मुज़ाकरात जारी रखना चाहेंगे। उन्होंने कहा कि जो उनका रोल था जंग का वो लड़ी जा चुकी, जंग ख़त्म हो चुकी और मामला जो है वो कुछ इस तरह से है कि वो समझते हैं कि ईरान अब जो यूरेनियम एनरिचमेंट का उसका ख्वाब था और एटॉमिक बॉम्ब बनाने का वो उसको पूरा नहीं कर सकेगा। ऑयल की खरीदारी से मुतालिक उनसे पूछा गया कि आपने जो चीन के हवाले से बयान दिया है कि वो ऑयल खरीद सकता है, तो क्या जो आपके सुप्रेस करने के या ओप्रेस करने के जो आपके जो तरीक़ाकार था उससे क्या आप उस प्रेशर से हट रहे हैं पीछे। उनका ये कहना था वो प्रेशर से नहीं हट रहे, बल्कि जब एक मुल्क जंग से तबाह है तो उसका ये हक बनता है कि वो पैसे अर्न करे और दोबारा से अपना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप करे। इसलिए वो ये मौका दे रहे हैं कि अगर ऑयल की ट्रेड वो जारी रखना चाहता है तो वो रख सकता है।
आंखें मिलाने वाले, दिल को चुराने वाले, मुझको भुलाना नहीं, मन को सजा